Master Duel's been out for a little bit, about a week at this point, and I think it's time we revisit that Maxx C discussion. Don't be like the 33.8% of you guys have not smashed the living crap out of that subscribe button. Smash it so we can roll on over to 150,000, baby. So what's going on with Maxx C right now? Maxx C's legal in Master Duel, and more so than ever before, I've never understood a bad player base. You know, we have memes and things in this community, but when you see somebody chain a Maxx C on a pot of duality and it kind of circulates around the internet, you kind of ask yourself, do people know how to fundamentally read? So we're going to talk about the Maxx C effect. Can it come back on supposedly what will be the ban list today? And so forth. So from where I'm sitting right now with Maxx C, Maxx C in Master Duel has been pretty alright, considering the fact that Ben 10 is at 3. I hate that with a passion. Please fix format, Konami. Please get rid of Ben 10. Put to 1. Make deck tolerable. Maxx C with quote-unquote bad players, as we're going to make the reference here. A lot of the player base has kind of been talking about Maxx C in a vacuum of players that are really unaware of the interactions and things like that. Yeah, that's fine. Maxx C to a player base 5-6 years ago, it's almost like Master Duel is designed to rope back in all of these players that played this game 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 years ago, bring them back into an environment that they might remember, which would be, if anybody played pretty importantly back in those days, you'll reminisce about a lot of these things. Let's not forget that, you know, Konami likes to bring back in the casual player base at all points in time. And I hate to tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, you've been looking at those 40,000, 30,000 numbers that are being streamed on Twitch for Master Duels here. I don't know if you guys have noticed that or anything, but it's really weird because I can tell you the competitive player base is a fraction of that. You guys ever looked at anything before Master Duel came out? Just to kind of take a look at those numbers and that turnover. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The competitive player base ain't pulling in shit for numbers. Alright, that's why having a channel dedicated to a competitive player base, not so bueno. Alright, so now that we've established that Maxx C and the casual player base kind of coming back in here, getting the grind back on the meta, you'll notice a couple of things here. Once again, we're bringing back in that old player base. I got to re-emphasize that point here. All right, looping back in the player base. I've heard stories, actually, about older players out here from 10 years ago, actually, that had this Exodia deck. And they're like, oh, cool, I can rebuild my classic Exodia deck, and they'll go play it on ranked. I'm also hearing about Toon players, Relinquish players. You know, this game is very casual friendly that are getting into Platinum 5, Platinum 4 here, and they are grinding up the ladder. It's not that unheard of. So now that we've established that we have a much more casual player base here, a lot of players that might have been very reminiscent of Maxx C back in the day, let's talk about the competitive implications of this. Well, back to the pot of greed Maxx C thing here. So, players that don't know how to read, those are a dime a dozen. Let me tell you what, I've seen people try to MST field spells out here. Some field spells will resolve because of how they work, and people just don't understand basic card mechanics. Well, Robbie, you know, are you sure? Maybe just people not being educated. I'm not saying that that's not the case. It is the case. I've seen a lot of players out here that are looking at Maxx C right now, actually just kind of looking at the game in general as a little tie into this and really just going, well, I need to learn this. I saw my my artist friend Nez was watching videos with Case on how to build Dragon Maids and Sky Striker during a live stream. All right, now think about that, all right? They're actually kind of diving into this and learning this. Now, if you're a competitive player and you're like, you know, in the TCG right now, you all kind of have the same generic opinion across the board if you're super competitive. All right, I got to include that note there because there'll always be a few of the players who are like, well, you know, Maxx C, you know, can come back. I think the generic thing I'm seeing across the board here is no Maxx C. Even if we've played it in Master Duel right now, I'm for the believer right now. I don't want to see Maxx C back in the TCG. All right, I'm very firmly for that, but that doesn't stop me from abusing it. All right, there seems to be like this mentality block from the player base. It's like, well, if you don't think Maxx C should come back, you shouldn't play it. Who the hell said that? I'm going to abuse every facetable outlet that I can for one of the most absurd cards in the game. And I'm not going to lie to you, playing Striker with full power Maxi with like 9 different hand traps, draw, oh, well that sucks. Here's the thing, alright, back to the point here on players not really knowing how to be super competitive at this game. You know, if you Maxi a player and they take the challenge and they're particularly not used to these sorts of things, then you're going to generate a whole bunch of advantage. On the top end of spectrum, where you're 1% of the game, Maxi is deemed bad. Alright? Based on the rest of the player base, right now kind of funneling back into Master Duel. I don't know what the turnover for this player base is right now. Actually, I really wish I could see that data. I really wish I could see how many players are going to look at Master Duel and they're going to go, well, I kind of want to go back into the TCG. All right, what are the odds that I can play what I'm playing right now and transition it back over? The other question you got to ask yourself is, will Master Duel be a completely different format from actual TCG physical cards? Because from where I'm sitting here, ladies and gentlemen, I do not foresee Maxx C returning to the game right now. Alright? It's too soon after the release of Master Duel for Konami to kind of turn their heads, especially after a week of data, ladies and gentlemen, and go, alright guys, we need to bring Maxx C back. There's this entire mentality also behind this right now that people think that we're going to unify lists again just because Master Duel exists. One of the questions I believe on the survey was, do you want Master Duel to be its own separate format? And for one, I'll talk about this more at a later date, but I mentioned this on stream the other day. When the TCG, the physical card game itself, is in a shit position, all right, I'm kind of burned out on the TCG right now. Don't get me wrong, it's not in a really bad place. I'm just so sick of Sword Soul after Sword Soul. Going back into Master Duel was a frickin' fresh breath of air. Holy crap, ladies and gentlemen. I got to play Sky Striker. I got to play Eldritch. I got to play some of these older things. I mean, granted, I'll be able to play Striker again more here once Linkage comes out, but I got to relive some of those memories just not even, like a year ago? So, picking back up decks that I've already been familiar with was great. But the data turnover right now for a week, alright, does not seem like Konami will be taking advantage of that. I think that going forward here, we will see a patch on this ban list that is more like a band-aid than anything, alright? We'll see our player base get little happy smiley emojis. We'll get some fixes checked here because Battle of Chaos is right on the horizon. Brave should be this week, alright? Don't forget, everybody's in here in a little time capsule enjoying this, but the world of the TCG is still evolving. You have 2 very big set releases back to back. You have Ghosts from the Trash 2 funneling down the pipeline here, and 95% of the player base has the nostalgia goggles on right now going, ooh, Maxi, ooh, I love this format. Ooh, this format is good. And then at the end of the day, you realize this format has the same problems as the current TCG. So, sorry to tell you guys, Maxx C not coming back, alright? As much as I want to be like, yeah, bring back Maxx C, I don't foresee it. You need to patch other problems, alright? You need multiple Call by the Graves. And even like in my little friend circle that have been playing this game, the generic consensus, I believe it was even, MBT and Coder were all like, yeah, if you've grinded this game, Maxx C is atrocious, alright? Like, it's such a stupid power card. And then I run into the one opponent that's like, you activate like Rhoda, your opponent chains Maxx C, and you're like, okay, like, I'll just pass turn on my Ray. Thank you for not appropriately, like, trying to choke me out at a better choke point. But once again, I don't expect the player base to be massively educated on what's going on because all of the returning players, alright? Maybe if you, against a relinquished player or something, maybe you can, take advantage of the situation. I'm not sure. Alright, it's just how it is right now. So, TLDR, Maxi's not coming back. Casual player base, funneling into the game is a good thing, and we'll kind of wait and see how things shape up here in the sphere that is Master Duel in the near future here as we see Burst, Dawn, all of these other things kind of get into the game. But until that actually happens, ladies and gentlemen, buckle up. I can't wait to see Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer in the game. They better ban the shit out of Fusion Destiny because I don't want to deal with that crap. I already deal with that in physical cardboard. I don't want to deal with that here. So guys, leave a comment down below. Tell you guys make sure you guys smash the little crap out of that subscribe button so you guys know how more awesome content. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later on the day. Peace out, guys. Patrons, thank you. ya!
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.